This keyboard changed the Osu community forever. Holy! Featuring new technology that's been directly credited for breaking the highest PP record not once, but 3 times. I'm going to be taking a look at why the Wooting Keyboard is a huge step forward for the Osu community, but also reveal the consequences and controversy that followed that nobody could have predicted.
Fundamentally, I want to believe that you can't exactly buy skill. You'd be surprised at.
But to break this down, I needed to get my hands on one, and it didn't help that it's literally out of stock for months. Holy! So I reached out to Wooting themselves, and thankfully they were able to send me one free of charge. Disclaimer: this video is not sponsored by Wooting. Wooting had no influence on the production of this video, nor of the unpredictable results of the 7-day experiment that I'm about to show you. At the time of me recording this, I was sort of in a rut. My inactivity with the game caused me to get really rusty, so having something to switch things up definitely made things more interesting. When I first opened up the keyboard, I could instantly tell that this was built with competition in mind. It's not made of any fancy materials like stainless steel or brass, but I actually see that as a feature. Because of its plastic build and 60% form factor, it's really light and small. Perfect for players who game on the go or attend LAN events, like the Roundtable. Speaking of which, in July 7th through 9th, the Roundtable Invitational will be making a return. 16 players will be hand-selected to be flown out to Los Angeles to compete in an exclusive 1v1 LAN event, free for everyone to watch. You can find out more information at theroundtable.gg. But anyways, I also noticed during the typing test that the keys are already pre-lubed from the factory. It's not as good as hand lubing, but this still is, hands down, the best typing experience I've ever had out the box from any stock keyboard. But what completely elevates this keyboard is the software that goes hand in hand with it, Wootility. I was a bit late to the party, so I asked this guy who was pretty good at the game if I could borrow their settings. Thanks, Emrek. I'll get more into the details later. So, before we get started, I wanted to do a little experiment before and after the settings were applied. And here's how they went.
You suck at streaming 100 clicks. Okay. See, it's a 233.
I think it's safe to say, no matter what settings you use, they obviously don't change how fast your fingers move. Who would have thought? A benchmark can really only show so much, so afterwards I jumped into a game and... Huh?
I'm tapping very early.
This actually makes so much sense. Within the Wootility software, you can actually adjust how far you need to press the key in order for it to activate. With a typical mechanical keyboard, that actuation distance is around 2mm. With the keyboard that I normally use, it's 1.8mm. But with the settings that I'm using, it's set at 0.5mm. So for the first couple of maps, I definitely struggled with the accuracy because I was tapping too early. If anything, it felt so much more responsive. But after a couple of runs, I eventually got used to it.
Oh, I just realized something. Okay, I think I definitely feel the rapid trigger in effect.
Wait a second. What is rapid trigger? Rapid trigger is a feature enabled through Wootility software, and it's so broken that some people went as far to say that it's cheating. This allows your keyboard to activate anytime there's a downwards movement past the actuation point, and deactivate anytime there's an upwards movement. This completely removes an actuation distance outside of your first click and makes note lock pretty much impossible. This is because note lock is typically caused by players not lifting their fingers high enough to deactivate the switch. This makes them drop an input. Situations like this usually happen when you're about to run out of stamina, so this feature is actually insane. You can pretty much think of it like a huge safety net to help prevent mistakes.
I think there's more room for error with this keyboard. I think that's a good way of putting it. At the end of the day, these are just optical switches, right? Couldn't any optical switch keyboard kind of just like...
Wrong! Because this was advertised as an analog keyboard, I actually made the wrong assumption that they used optical switches, which isn't anything new to the industry. Instead, they used Lecker switches that have magnets inside of them and Hall effect sensors to pull that analog signal. Because of this, the switch is virtually indestructible, which is great because I've had to go through many keyboards over the years because of switches dying. There's also a few other features that this enables that is probably illegal.
Dynamic keystroke allows you to set 4 different outputs at 4 different key position on one key. Basically, what...
Huh? Let's really focus on Rapid Trigger because I got the perfect map to test it on. This map is 9.3 stars at 250 BPM, and I can confidently tell you that I cannot pass it. But watch this and tell me what's wrong in this clip.
God!
If you haven't figured it out, there's no way that I should still be alive. Well, that, my friends, is rapid trigger in full effect. Because without it, I just completely fail within the first few seconds.
I just miss more, dude.
Here's another example on Speed of Link.
There were definitely multiple moments where I would have broken on a normal keyboard that just dropped accuracy on this board. Like, I should not have held combo for that long. In fact, there's actually one point in particular that I wanna analyze.
So, to help explain what's going on, while I was playing Speed of Link, I knew that I messed up.
Do you see how my inputs literally don't even line up with the actual map? But there are just enough triggers that make it okay.
And in a normal situation, on a normal keyboard, I would have missed and gotten terrible accuracy on this stream.
This stream right here, with the way that I was tapping, would have resulted in me note locking. But it nailed everything.
In this situation, I ended up holding combo throughout the entire stream. Looking at the replay analyzer, you can actually see where my key presses are in accordance with the objects on screen. And they literally don't line up at all.
My inputs literally don't even line up with the actual map.
Yet, I was able to hold on because even though I messed up, Rapid Trigger still detected my improper tap as an input, and I ended up holding combo. If this was during an actual run, this could have completely saved my score. Overall, after an entire day of playing with the Wooting Keyboard, these were my day one closing thoughts.
Thoughts on the Wooting? It's a nice keyboard. I don't think it necessarily makes you better at the game, though. It definitely has its own, like, learning curve with it.
Now, this doesn't make much sense given what I just told you, but you will understand by the end. I was really curious if the Wooting's rapid trigger function would improve my ability with stream maps. For those unfamiliar, I'm a top 100 OSU player whose specialty within the game revolves around these types of beat maps. So, if there was any change as a result of rapid trigger, these maps would help me feel them. And well, I definitely felt it.
I'm getting better runs, but I'm still like... I'm trying to use the rapid trigger effect to like conserve stamina. I must be doing something wrong. I'm still dropping a shit ton of accuracy. When I use rapid trigger and I kind of just like vibrate my hand in a way, sure, it hits the objects, but it's just worse accuracy.
And so I wanted to do a little bit of experimenting. Starting with the map, Everything Will Freeze, a legendary 240 BPM stream map.
Pretty good.
So I decided to play the exact same map again, swapping between keyboards to see if one performed better than the other. And well, the results were pretty much the same.
Is that tied? I feel like if I try not to use the features of this keyboard, it makes me play better.
So I tried it again on a map that's even faster, Shinbatsu.
I have a 97% choke with hidden.
This map is 250 BPM with lots of long streams, and in the past, I've gotten scores around 97% accuracy. But let's see how the Wooting compares.
Well, I got the FC. I note locked with the HyperX, but I do have better accuracy with it.
So at this point, we can start to see a few correlations come up. With the Wooting keyboard, I tend to get better miscounts with terrible accuracy. But the HyperX keyboard gets way better accuracy, although I didn't close out a single FC that day. But why?
But there's a bunch of different factors that still need to be taken into account. One, I played with that keyboard for a very long time. Two, I'm still getting used to the Wooting keyboard. Three, could be offset issues, etc, etc.
Wooting's rapid trigger isn't something that just instantly makes you better. It's something you have to learn and adapt to. What we could be seeing is a single step backwards for one giant leap forward. And maybe I'm just not used to it yet. In this case, the only way to see its true potential is time.
Okay, chat, we are on day 3 of Wooting.
Moving on to day 3, I decided to play a variety of finger control and DT maps to see where else this keyboard shines. What we saw before was that this keyboard excels in holding combo and missing less. I felt like I played significantly better on maps with complex rhythms. Take this map for example, 2L's The Earth. Outside of that though, I didn't really notice a difference with other types of maps. I really believed in the potential behind Rapid Trigger and the actuation flexibility of this keyboard, so I went back on the grind to see what scores I could pump out. I zeroed in on a map called Myth's Orbis by Knowledge King, a 210 BPM Deathstream map used in the Osu World Cup. Remember, on normal keyboards, it's best practice to bottom out every keystroke.
Chat, I need my speed back. I need my stamina back.
The tactile feedback gives you a guarantee that you pass the actuation point, and that allows players to hone in their consistency and unstable rate. But that's also one of the biggest areas for stamina to be consumed. Any energy used beyond the actuation point is wasted. Rapid Trigger makes bottoming out an option instead of a necessity, and players within the top 10 have shown it's able to unlock insane stamina and speed when used correctly. But for some reason, I was losing stamina on the Wooting skill issue. The only way Rapid Trigger helps is when you don't bottom out. And without the tactile feedback of your key slamming the bottom, it's so much harder to control your tapping. And when you lose control, you need to spend more stamina to regain that control. And that explains my stamina issue. Here's my theory. Trying to rely on Rapid Trigger actually makes you worse at the game. But having it enabled and playing normally allows you a safety net. So if you do run out of stamina, it can help you hold on a bit longer to potentially hold combo until the next break section. To test this theory, I gave this map one more attempt, disabling the Rapid Trigger function to see if that'll change anything. And well...
Alright, now I just need to stop shit missing, then we have an FC.
I think this is really solid evidence. Rapid Trigger is less of a game-breaking feature and more like a safety net or a crutch. You can rely on it if you underperform, but to specifically go out of your way to use it seems like a stretch. I continued playing on the Wooting for a couple more days just to see if anything would change.
Alright, I might have to come back to this tomorrow. Wait, I got a B? Eee.
End off the 1 week Wooting experiment with a banger. Well, I got some pretty decent scores. At the end of the 7-day experiment, I just can't recommend this keyboard. Why? I mean, the features it provides are unmatched by anything else on the market, but that comes with a price. $175 is a lot of money for a keyboard, and that's if it was in stock. Aftermarket prices are over double that amount. Over $400 if you wanted this today. What the fuck? People have actually bought this literally today, open box, for $400. And there's not a single keyboard worth spending that amount of money on. Yes, almost every single top player uses this keyboard. But keep in mind, I wasn't the only one who got this keyboard for free. You hear about the scores that were set on this keyboard, some directly crediting it for that player's success. But what about the others who just use it because it's a nice keyboard, who didn't see much improvement like I did, and are just happy with a free, exclusive, hard-to-acquire product? This side of the story is what I hope to tackle in an upcoming video, where I invited one of the fastest players in the world to try the Wooting keyboard himself. To clear the air, I doubt Wooting is intentionally keeping stock down. I had an idea to create a Rapid Trigger keypad, since that would hopefully solve a lot of these issues. I reached out to Glarsis to see if we can make it a reality, but he very clearly nailed into me how difficult and expensive the logistics are to bring a product like that to market. But I'm really interested in your thoughts. I'll be reading them in the comments section down below. And to end things off, I think the Wooting experience is finished. At the end of it all, I'm still bad at speed. I still can't play speed for shit. My fingers are slow. And even having the best keyboard on the market for Osu is still not enough to make me good at speed. I think the lesson here is that you cannot buy skill. Rip bozo. I'm just bad. Of course. Wow.